But today we're going to start with the new outreach philosophy, which really shouldn't be new. It just is. It's going to be a philosophy, I think, for me moving forward. Identifying your targeted first degree connection. So who are we connected to that we want to nurture? Who and how do we find them in, our vast list of connections? We're going to choose how to engage specific people, and we'll talk about how to organize that. And what is thought leadership today, and how can we show up the right way? So this is kind of my only moment of how we want to go to market, and then we'll be much more uplifting beyond this slide. But we know there's an elephant in the room, and there is a different elephant in every single room. And we don't know what that elephant looks like when we send out our messages. We don't know if it's a household of, 2 people working full-time with 3 kids they have to homeschool. We don't know if it's a household where they have someone sick in a hospital that they can't visit. We don't know if this is a household of someone who's alone and has been isolated practically for 5 weeks, right? So as we do this outreach, I'm just saying, keep in mind that we never know where our message is landing. And we want to make sure that we're hyper aware, that we're not making any assumptions or making it uncomfortable. So this is the quote that kind of created this whole webinar. Now's the time to build relationships, show real empathy, and be a resource. The sales will come when the time is right. And I'm saying this in a way that I'm not saying don't sell. There are a lot of people doing a lot of business right now. There are a lot of people doing a little bit of business right now. People are still buying. Sometimes they're buying differently. A lot of people, have been selling in the same pond for a really long time, and they've picked up their boat and they've moved it to a new pond, right? And they're selling the same thing in a different way to a different audience. So the economy is moving and people are investing some. So I am not saying don't sell. What I'm saying is don't lead with the sale. Lead with the relationship. And this is something that this is part of like moving forward. I think this is the way of the world. I think this is what we're going to do is we should always build relationships, always show real empathy, and always be a resource. And the sales will come. But now it's never been more important. So typically the goal of LinkedIn for social selling is to create more sales conversations. In a crisis, it's simply more targeted conversations. It doesn't have to be a prospect that we're going after. There are lots of other people that we can engage, starting with all of our past clients. I have a couple stories that I'll talk about during this time that have been very effective. But make a list of every client you've ever worked with, maybe over the last 5 years or the last 10 years. These are people that we can reach out to simply to build a deeper relationship. And I realized my camera turned off again, so I'm back on. I saw my little thing. So this is a time to build deepening those relationships with your clients. It's not necessarily about selling to them over and over and over again, but it's really showing up. If the time is right, they will buy. And if the time isn't right, you're being a resource, you're showing up. I think it's a disservice if we don't reach out to our clients. And the other thing is it makes them way more vulnerable to other people later on that might be reaching out now, right? Prospects. I don't know about you, but almost everyone I talked to said that, the first couple of months of this year was the strongest economy they'd ever seen. So if that's been the case, right, these are people that had interest, will probably most likely have interest again, and they may have just been put on hold. They may have said to you, call me in August or September. But just because they said I'm not ready to buy to August or September doesn't mean we can't nurture that relationship now. Doesn't mean we can't be of service and be a resource right now. So even if they've put you off for 3, 4, 5 months, we still want to stay engaged because we want them to know that they matter, not just their business. That's what the beginning of building a relationship means. Our referral partners. I don't know about you, but most of my business is grown from my referral partners, people that have sent me business and people I've sent business and opportunities to. There's not a better time to deepen those relationships than right now. Look at everyone that's ever referred you business that you've had networking meetings with and start to deepen those relationships, not just one-on-one with you, but I'm going to show you a way to make you that much more valuable to them. And your vendors, who have you bought from? These people are keeping your business afloat. I never looked at it this way. I always said I'm buying from them, right? But there are a lot of vendors that without them we couldn't be here today. Who has helped you move from your physical office to your home office? Who has helped you network better? What vendors have made this transition easier for you? Those are people to engage with and show the gratitude. Coworkers, if you were in a physical environment where you were connecting with humans every single day, just a daily 20-minute all hands on deck meeting is not building deeper relationships. Make sure that you are reaching out. We'll talk about ways to this to those coworkers and showing your appreciation in lots of other ways. And last, community leaders. I'm here today mostly because of Charlie. Thank you, Charlie Timmons. Thank you very much. But it started because I reached out to all the community leaders to offer value, to offer resource. So think about who are the chambers of commerce, the associations. I've done 15, 16, by the end of this week, I'll have over 20 times that I've done this particular webinar at no cost to anyone ever. And I actually had someone reach out and offer to pay, and I said, no, that's not what this one is, right? This is about that. So let's keep in mind that think about all the people in our network that we can provide value to. So when I started doing this, the first thing that I, as a trainer, began to think about is, we could teach all of these great things, and I'm going to teach you a lot of things to do today. But how do we stay organized, right? Otherwise, it ends up to be random acts of social. You'll get some ideas. You'll do a little bit here and there. You'll forget people. You won't remember you won't remember who you're connected to. And so we decided we were going to start with exporting your connections. And this, everyone, free account, paid account, doesn't matter. Everyone can export their connections. When you do it, and I'll show you the steps, you are going to get first name, last name, company, position, and the date you connected. The date you connected is great because if we export them again in 2 weeks, we'll know exactly the new people, right? Everyone from, this was done in April 7th, everyone from April 8th on. Then I make columns, and we're going to go through lots of things that we can do with people. And take the time to go through this list with the columns of the things that we can do, and then mark who you want to do these things with. So I look through here and I see Nina Cook. What do I want to do with Nina? Oh, she's awesome. I'm going to give her kudos, and I'll explain what that is later. I'm going to send a video message. I'm going to set up a networking meeting, right? We're going to create, and we're going to go through all of these things, but we're going to create columns, and we're going to decide who. Now, it may only be 15%, 10% of your entire list get an X. There may be a lot of people that we're not engaging with. But this will help us to take a look at all of our existing connections, and you'll have aha moments here like, oh my gosh, I didn't know Scott moved to that company, right? You'll see things. Oh, and one of the things, I had someone come back to me, the most valuable thing I got from that webinar is I recognized I wasn't connected to any of my clients. That was what he recognized, right? So you'll have other aha moments from this, and it will create some value. But this is what we're recommending you do. Now, I am going to go through step by step how to export your connections. It's the same for everybody, free, account, premium. But I'm only going to go through this once. This is being recorded. So if you don't get the steps, although I'm also giving you kind of a few seconds to grab paper and a pen if you wanted to actually write this down. But I'm only going to go through it one time. Otherwise, the rest of the webinar will be people asking me how to do that again. So I'm only going to do it once. So step number 1, click on the My Network tab. Step number 2, click on Connections on the top left under Manage My Network. Step number 3, on the top right, click Manage Synced and Imported Contacts. Step number 4, click Export Contacts. We're not done yet, maybe halfway through, I know. Step number 5, you're going to see you have 2 choices, download large data or you want something in particular. Step number 5 is click Connections. Step number 6, request archive. Step number 7, put in, oops, I have a new password, I forgot. Okay. Put in your password. Be nice if the LinkedIn trainer actually knew how to log into her LinkedIn, wouldn't it? Okay. No, I just changed it yesterday and now I don't remember what I changed it to. Ha, wonderful. Okay, but you'll know your password because you're good at this. I'm going to try one more time. Hopefully I know it. No. All right, I'll set it again. But at this point, you're going to request your connections. Step number, was that 8? 7. Step number 8 is, and this turned off on me again too. Step number 8, you're going to get an email in 10 minutes that that will create a link that comes back here that will say download archive. So you'll download your Excel spreadsheet, and then I cleaned it up a little bit, but this is basically what it would look like. There will be a column for emails. Most of them are empty. A few of them you'll see have emails because people opted in for that, but mostly you won't see emails. All right, so now that we know how to organize, we are going to get started in how to build these relationships. So the first one, and you could see my first column, was kudos. Kudos is a public postcard thanking people for doing something that you appreciate. So I'm going to hop into what that looks like. And in this case, we're going to do for Charlie since he was so awesome at filling this. So Charlie Timmons, thank you very much. I want to show my appreciation. The first thing I can do is go into his profile, click on the More button, and I could give kudos. So I could see, thank you very much, Charlie. And by the way, let me go back for a second because we have options. So if you go here, I could do thank you, great job, making work fun, making an impact, amazing mentor, whatever it might be. So I'm going to say thank you for promoting the webinar for, let's see, and I'm going to do at Beacon. Does Beacon have, do we have Beacon here?
You type in networking, it should come up, Beacon Networking.
Oh. No,
there we are.
Yep, there it is. Great. Right, for Beacon, right? And then I could put in LinkedIn, social selling, and I may even put in like Philly or Philadelphia. I don't even know if they have, okay, so I'll do Philadelphia. You can add your own anyway. So I put that out there and I hit post. Charlie is now going to get a notification that I gave him this kudos.
Brynne, Trisha, Stiggy, question.
Hi, Trisha.
How are you?
Good.
Can you do this on anybody or just first connection?
Only first degree connections.
Thank you.
Yep. So, oh, Chris, you're so funny. He's like, you could find your password. I changed my password, like just changed it, and so I don't think I even saved it. It's a long story, but anyway. So, but I'll get to my password later. Thank you, though. I appreciate the help there. So, yeah. So now I've sent that kudos to Charlie. He gets a little notification that says that he got this kudos. He'll probably like or engage on it, and it'll help us to start a dialogue. The goal ultimately is I just wanted to, say thank you, love to know how you're doing right now. I'm hoping, you guys are healthy and sane. And let's start, if you're open, let's jump on a call. It's just a great way to build and deepen an existing relationship, and showing appreciation to any of those people, your clients, your prospects, your referral partners, your vendors, your community leaders. I think I'm forgetting one other, but you understand, right? Like, there's lots and lots and lots of people that we can do this with. The next one is endorse. Now, I don't recommend that you endorse the same person over and over. Like, I sent that to Charlie. It'd be kind of stalkerish if I went and then endorse him. So one thing at a time is typically good. Now, I'm not connected to Zoe yet. I was going to do you, Zoe, but I'm not going to be able to give you endorsements. So you know what, Charlie, I'll be stalkerish. That's fine. And if I wanted to give Charlie some kind of endorsements, I go down to skills and endorsements. So executive coaching. So, yep, he's great at executive coaching. He's highly skilled. How have you connected? He will now get a little message that says, Brynne just endorsed you for executive coaching. So why I love this, so kudos, it's totally public. Everyone sees that. I love it, but you can't do too many a day, because it will take the, someone says, look, try that. Look at me. Is the behind it, the meaning behind it a little bit, right? But when you endorse someone for a skill, that's only public on their profile. It doesn't go to an activity feed. And it will prompt Charlie to thank me with a pre-populated message that'll say, Brynne, thank you for endorsing me for executive coaching. All he has to do is hit send. He doesn't have to type anything. So most people will thank you when you do this. That's a great opportunity to start a conversation, right? So let's say, I endorse Bruce. Bruce sends an automated thank you. Now I come back and say, hey, Bruce, I was thinking about you. It's been a while since we last connected. Wonder, how are you guys doing? Now, this is where you can be ultra sensitive or empathetic. If I know Bruce's situation, if he has kids at home, if he has, if he's married, or if he's alone, or whatever, if I say, I hope your wife and kids are doing fine. If I don't know, this is where it could be like, I hope you and the family are fine, which people do, and then they might have been isolated for the last 5 weeks and haven't been with their family, and it sets off an emotional roller coaster, right? That's why we want to make sure we're hyper aware that there's a different elephant in every room. And so in our messaging, unless we know, we want to be very careful. So I hope that makes sense. But so that's 2 things now. We have kudos and we have endorsements that we can do to start to deepen relationships. The next one is a deeper, more time-consuming, but even more valuable piece, which is recommendations. These are fantastic for your vendors and your coworkers. If you had a coworker that really helped in a transition from office to home, if you have a coworker that's just taught you Zoom so that you could use it and spend extra time with you, if you have a vendor who had made this transition easier or was really there when you needed them, all of those folks deserve a written recommendation. And this is literally, you write what they did, you send it to them. I'm going to show you the steps to do that. And then when they receive that, the difference here, when you give a kudos or you do a endorsement, you are going to automatically get that posted publicly. A recommendation they have to accept, or they can actually even request. Sorry, guys, I'm not sure what happened. Okay, so from Charlie, so this is for making a recommendation. I'm going to click on the More button, and you do have to be a first-degree connection, and I'm going to click on Recommend. Then I'm going to fill out my relationship, Charlie's position at the time. I'm going to take it all the way through, and I'm going to paste a recommendation that I wrote. And I do recommend that you write this in Word, you put it through Grammarly first, you do all that fun stuff, and then go through this process. And this is really meaningful. And if you could do a couple of these a week, you're going to really start to deepen some relationships. It can really have an impact. The next one, and by the way, all of these things are a column, right? So you've exported your Excel spreadsheet. You have a column of kudos, a column of endorse, a column of LinkedIn recommendations. So now we can predetermine who we're going to do some of these things with. So make an introduction.
Brynne, I just wanted for recommendations once accepted are public.
They are absolutely once accepted. If I didn't say that, I apologize. They are public, but they don't go to your news feed or your activity feed. So it's another thing. And they are public. If you go to your profile, you could see the ones you've given. And if you go to their profile, once they've accepted it, they could see that that they got it. Yes. And here, I can go down. I'll show you recommendations. Right, so Charlie is 33, man. 33, that's awesome. So he has 33 recommendations, and you can see, but if I went to AJ's profile, it will show in his given. It'll say that AJ gave Charlie a recommendation. So it does show up in both of those places. Yep. So the next one is make an introduction. So this is primarily I've been doing this with my referral partners. So for me, there are a whole bunch of referral partners. There's sales trainers and there's marketers, let's say we'll put out there. I refer business to website people all the time. I refer business to sales trainers all the time. But rarely do I ever connect my marketers and my sales trainers who can also refer business to one another. So what I want to do now is start to identify who in my network are great referral partners for me and see if they're open to doing some networking right now, and many are. So if I jump into LinkedIn and I do a search, I can click on the search button and people, and I can do this from my Excel too, but this is a great way to learn how to do this. So I do search, people, all filters. Now, if you didn't know about this, this is a major aha moment right now. From here, I want to search on my first degree connections, people I'm already connected to. And for the sake of this exercise, I really only want people in the greater Philadelphia area. Now, I have other things I can choose from, including industry and some other filters, but I'm going to go here and I'm going to put in quotes, I'm going to do sales trainer. Now, if it could be or sales, I don't think training will be there because this is a title, but we'll try it. If you do ORs, O-R, both O and R have to be capitalized. And if you have more than one term, so if I just had trainer, I wouldn't need quotation marks, but I want sales trainer together, I tell LinkedIn. So I get 22. So I have 22 sales trainers or trainers in the Philadelphia area that I'm connected to. Now, there may be other titles that I need to hit on because I probably have more than that, and they're not all coming up. So I have to play around with it. But as I look through it, I say, oh, Jim Kaufman, how's Jim doing? I haven't talked to him in a while. He's awesome. So I'm going to reach out to Jim with a little message that might say, hey, Jim, I hope this note is landing in a healthy, sane household. I'm taking some of this self-quarantine time to be more valuable to my network, and I'm reaching out to people that may be interested in having networking meetings with other people in my network. I said network a lot of times. I'd probably not say network 7 times in a message, but you get the point. So Jim, as a sales trainer, often folks are interested in learning people that are in marketing or web development. Is that someone that would be valuable for you to meet? Let me know if you're open to introductions or other people you might want to talk with. And he may come back and say, oh yeah, I love meeting web developers. Those are great referrals, partners. Great. Half of them will ignore you. Half of them, 25% are going to come back and say, I'm not interested. And 25% will say, yeah, I'd love a networking introduction. That's a great idea. So now I have Jim Kaufman who's wants to meet web people. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in and I'm going to do, instead of sales trainer, I'm going to look at web designer. Let's see who I know. So there's 4 people I know, and I could also do our website. Let's see. And again, I'd play with this and figure it out. There's 10, right? So I'm going to go through here and I'll say, oh my gosh, Ginny, how's Ginny doing? Ginny's great. Maybe I will introduce her, or Bonnie, right? And now I reach out to Bonnie and I say, just wanted to let you know that I've been networking with some of my sales trainers, and Jim Kaufman is interested in networking with people, with web designers. Are you open to an introduction? The key is you want to get both of them to say, yes, I want to network, because only about 25% of them do. So it becomes really, really awkward when we make an introduction and one of the parties doesn't want to have that meeting. So you want to reach out and think about, so who are all the people in your network that have referred business that you can make introductions for one another? This is a very powerful exercise that you can do that will also lead to you having conversations with these people as well. But you want to lead with, I'm trying to be of value to my existing network and make some introductions for my valuable connections. Are you interested in having networking conversations? It can be so valuable. If you like that idea as networkers, put a little Y in comments, just out of curiosity. How many of you are like, I love that and I'm going to do that? The next one is really, really, really simple. I have a question. If you're referred to someone, remember to thank that person who referred you. That's true. And I try to keep notes on that, because sometimes you don't remember. So that's great. So just keep that in mind. So, oh, you guys are awesome. I love the engagement. Does LinkedIn predetermine titles? No, you can choose your own title. And title is not your headline. Title is in your experience section. So that's great. Awesome, awesome. Oh, I've got some familiar names here. Hello, hello. All right. So engage on content, on individual content. So people are sharing content for lots of reasons, but primarily to get engagement. There are ways that we can actually search content by individuals first. So if I went to Charlie and I go down and I want to see his content, he has a ton of activity. I could go to the see all, and I love Dory Clark. She's amazing. I love that you're sharing her stuff. So I can go here and I could see Charlie's actual posts, and I could determine if I want to engage on the post that Charlie's making. If I do, I get on his radar, he's appreciative, and that's just a little step in building relationships. Another way to do this, and I haven't taught this yet in the last few weeks, but I teach this in my thought leadership class. If you click on the search bar and click on content, you can actually, you see where it says posted by, only my first degree connections, and I could say in the past week. So now I can see posts from my first degree connections in the past week, which is really powerful, right? So I could go through here. I don't know why I'm seeing almost all the same. Oh, author by industry. Yeah. What if I did, I'll do past 24 hours. Let's see if I get more out of interest. So, yep, I'm getting some other people coming up here in the past 24 hours. So if I look through here, I can see these are all my first degree connections that have posted content. This is such an easy way. This doesn't get clouded with everything in your news feed, all the advertisements, all the other stuff. And these are posted. So they're not just Mick liked something, he posted it. So all of this, Teresa, we all love Teresa, right? So if I wanted to go in, and now I can engage on content from my not targeted first degree, because it doesn't give you as much to break down, but it is a great way to start engaging on your first degree content. So just keep that in mind. This is something that I've really loved, and I've only opened this up to my clients so far, but this is something that we can open up to everyone, is hold open office hours once a week. And I'm going to continue to do this. I never did this before, but it's just a group coaching hour for anyone who's my client can come on and ask any question they want. I'm considering opening this up to everyone. But how does this relate to LinkedIn? Well, I have a column of all the people I want to invite to my office hour. So you can create a column and say, here are all the people that would get value from coming to my office hour. So just create one, well, maybe once a week with a Zoom that and allow people to come in and ask their questions and so forth. This can be very valuable, and you are really showing up as a resource for people.
Brynne, it's Tricia again. I'm sorry, I missed that last one. When you're creating the column, are you identifying and then sending invitations, or?
Yeah, right. So I put an X on everyone I want to invite, and now I can send a message to each of them with my Zoom link or asking them if they're interested in office hour, and I can add them to an invitation.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Or in my case, I have webinars, so I actually ask them to register if they're interested. But lots of ways to do that. Yep. And by the way, you don't have to just do this on LinkedIn. Email works, text works, Facebook works. Like, I'm just the LinkedIn person, so I'm saying, but you know, you can invite them anywhere you want. But the point of the LinkedIn is by exporting your connections, you can target certain people. And then you can go down through the row, and you can even alphabetize by a row. So that you can, see everybody all together. Yeah. So this one, I'm only recommending if you have income or a little bit of disposable income, because this costs money, but it's pretty powerful. And it's take your client or networking partner to a virtual lunch. So send a local menu to figure out exactly where they are, and send a local menu to them and say, I would love to take you to a virtual lunch. Pick a date next week that works for you. Tell me what you want, and I'm going to have it delivered for you. We'll get on a Zoom call and we'll have lunch together. This is amazing to do with your clients, with your prospects. Those prospects that said, I'm not ready to buy till August, take them to lunch now anyway. That's just going to solidify some of these relationships. It gives you a half hour. I would only do a half hour where you can catch up. It doesn't even have to be a whole lot of talking about business, just about, relationships. And we are now supporting a local business. What a great thing. Like, it's kind of a double excellent thing to do. This is by far my favorite thing that we're going to talk about today. And this is, I'm going to pull up my phone and I'm going to show you. This is, you can send a personal video message. Can everybody see my phone? Is it showing up? Okay, good. Thanks. So I could send a message to someone via video so easily. This is only available on mobile. But hey, I'm just going to keep picking on Charlie today. And I want to send Charlie a message. I click on the message button. At the bottom left, you are going to see a plus sign. I think he sent me one, which was great. And then I can, on the top right, you're going to see video. I'm going to turn on selfie mode. Right? And I'm going to say, hey, Charlie, great having you on this webinar with Beacon today. I appreciate you inviting so many people. You're amazing. Okay. So now I just send that video, and it took me 8 seconds. You could do dozens of these in a day. Just reconnecting with humans. It's simple. Just, I just wanted to drop in and say I was thinking about you. I hope you're doing well, that this is landing in a healthy, sane household. Just want to let you know, I appreciate everything you've done over the years, or whatever it might be. And and if you're looking to have conversations, I'd love to jump on a Zoom call. Let me know. You are going to get practically 100% response on this. the number one response I get is, oh my gosh, how did you do that? That was so cool. But it's still a response. And it starts those conversations. So I love this. And if you get nothing else from today, start doing that. Really start reaching out. So those are all the columns. Now let's just talk about thought leadership. And thought leadership is not only original content, it's the stuff that we curate, it's the stuff that we comment on, it's, all those things make up thought leadership. But the goal of thought leadership is to move that know, like, and trust to attract, teach, and engage. And actually, it's kind of reversed, because this is attract, teach, and engage. And then once you've done that, you can move to the know, like, and trust. So I'm actually thinking of switching this. But the bottom line is, like, the first steps are to attract, teach, and engage before they're going to even know and trust you, right? So that's really important. There is a difference, a significant difference between thought leadership. Charlie said, I received the video within 15 seconds. It's fast. It is. It's great. Thanks for letting us know. So thought leadership is a gift. When you think of thought leadership, it's really without any expectation of anything in return, versus content marketing, which, by the way, I love. I have a list of over 20,000 people in my email list because of content marketing, because I traded content for an email, right? Somebody bought my content with their email. In fact, 20,000 people bought my contact with an email. So I love content marketing. That's not thought leadership. And right now, thought leadership is just gifts. It's ungated, sharing value that they can use even if they never work with you, hire you, talk to you. And this is the stuff that's earning us the right to have conversations. And I really want you to keep this in mind, because earning the right to have a conversation is so critical. There is an enormous amount of content out there today. Crazy. We need to have really good stuff that gets people to raise their hand and say, if I can learn this from her or from him online, imagine what a conversation will be. This comes down to everything I talk about when it comes to thought leadership is based in the ask-offer ratio. This came from one line in a book called Gap Selling by Keenan, G-A-P, Gap Selling by Keenan. He gave me permission to not drop his name anymore, but I want everybody to read his book because it's absolutely phenomenal when it comes to sales. And this was one line in his book, and this is now the foundation to every single thing I do in my entire business. So I'm going to actually be on his podcast soon too, which I'm really excited about. But the ask-offer ratio, every single solitary thing we do on social, in sales, in outreach, there's an ask-offer ratio. I am asking you for 3 minutes to watch this video. At the end of that 3 minutes, you're going to make one of 3 determinations. This is now my stuff. It's no longer his stuff. This is kind of where I've taken it. The first determination is, that wasn't worth my 3 minutes. That was a bait and switch. I thought I was going to get value. I didn't. Even if they don't articulate it, they feel it. That happens to me a lot. I click through something and I'm like, that was bad. What a waste of my time. The next one was, that was okay. Maybe it delivered on its promise, but I wasn't blown away. Now, the danger of that is you got a 50-50 shot of them clicking through the next time you share something, or maybe less. Where we want to be in the ask-offer ratio is that they leave that 3 minutes going better for it. That you've created curiosity, that you've created so much value that they're bookmarking it, or they're sending it to someone else, or they're liking or commenting on it, right? That the value that they got was worth even more of their investment beyond that 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes. But this is also when we ask for a phone call, did we earn the right? And the only way we can earn the right is by mastering the ask-offer ratio. So if you bought one of my books, there's a piece in there that's wrong because I was wrong. And what I said is you put out a lot of content and you stay top of mind for a lot of people. And maybe it's wrong because the times have changed, but it's really important that it's not about volume now, it's about quality. I want people to be your followers, to wait for the next thing that you're going to share, to be excited about the next thing you're going to share, to know that every time you share something, it's worth clicking through. And that's how you build the tribe of followers. And so as you move forward in thought leadership, in giving gifts, in building relationships, keep the ask offer in mind. So the part of this in mastering the ask offer is know what your clients need now, but it's your vendors, your your community leaders. What do they need now? What are the challenges that they've been going through? What's changed in their business? How are they personally impacted? So I'm going to tell you, I have a client who is a leadership coach, and she's phenomenal. And she's a little slow right now because the leaders are busy, or they were anyway, transitioning their teams to be remote. So when we were talking, she came up with this great idea that she's going to reach out to them, and she did a program on how to lead virtually. Free, just like this is free, but she wanted to be a resource for all of her past clients. So in her outreach, she gets on the phone with a past client that she adored, and in there a little bit of chit chat in the beginning, she asked him, what are some of your biggest challenges right now? And he said, my biggest challenge is I have a 5th grader that needs help with his math, and I don't understand the new math. I don't know how to help him. So they giggled a little bit, and then they went on and had their conversation. And after that call, she went to YouTube and found a video that teaches adults how to teach their 5th graders math today and sent it to him. That is empathy. That is being a resource. So it's about going above and beyond. And believe me, when the time is right, she'll get the sale or the referral. So just keep that in mind. What does their team look like today? What new solutions do they need today? And you need to articulate very clearly for yourself first, what insights and value can you bring to them in their current state? Because it's probably different than it was 5 or 6 weeks ago. So if you can articulate the insights and value you can bring them today, you can have a significant impact. You have a reason to reach out. You have insights to share with them when you do. So master this. So I said the number 1 thing to take away is the video message. The number 2 thing to take away, or maybe we'll flip them even, is that you need to know the value that you bring right now. And then instead of telling them the value you can bring right now, bring it. Don't tell them how you can help them, right? Just reach out and be the resource. Be the person that they can count on right now. You will solidify and deepen those relationships more than you can ever imagine. Whether it turns to business today or in August, you are becoming that trusted advisor and really showing up when they need it. So your profile is thought leadership too, but let me just state beyond thought leadership at this time, and we're not going to go deep into the profile at all today because but you need to do this, right? You need to make sure that you are showing up as a resource. Could be another webinar that we do. The one thing I really want everyone to take away from today on their profile is you need to let people know you're still in business, right? So my typical headline is this: transforming the way professionals grow their business by leveraging LinkedIn to convert content and connections to conversations. I've now added virtual instructor-led programs for sales teams that are remote. People will know I am still in business today. So talk about what you can do virtually, what you could do remotely, right? What do you do? If you are a financial advisor It could be having virtual budgeting conversations with people that have had job transition. That's pretty good, actually. I have to remember that one. But like, think about like, what are the things like that you can do virtually so that when you are attracting them here, they know that you're still in business. So just keep that in mind. And by the way, on the desktop, you get 120 characters for your headline. On mobile iOS app, you get 210. I think the programmer might have been dyslexic, but you get 210 characters on iOS. All right, recap. The new outreach philosophy, make sure we're showing up with sympathy, empathy. Do not lead with the sale, lead with the relationship. Identify your targeted first-degree connections. We can do that in 2 ways, with exporting connections as well as doing that search for first degree. Choose how you want to engage with each of these people. Put a plan around it. And think about, as you're sharing content, what is thought leadership today? Are you hitting that ask-offer ratio? And do people know that you're still in business today? It's really important. Okay, I'm happy to open this up for Q&A. You can unmute and ask away. I think we still have, what do we have? Looking at the time, 9:21. Yeah, we have about 9 minutes or so. Usually there's tons of questions. Don't be shy. And they don't have to even relate to everything we talked about today. If you have any other LinkedIn questions, you're welcome to ask. Well, why don't we start this way, because people are shy to be the first one. In the chat button, tell me your #1 takeaway from today. That's a good way to get started. That'll get you guys typing and then asking questions.
Brynne, this is Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
Say that. I like the way you said that.
Don't tell my husband. No.
Brynne, what is the biggest misconception people have about using LinkedIn the way you've described?
So the misconception, the biggest misconception on LinkedIn, let's say there's 3. The first one, and it's not necessarily the way I describe, but generally, the first one is this is just for job seekers. The second one is everybody's trying to pitch me. They connect and pitch, and that's not fun. And the third one is, I've put out a ton of content, no one engages, it's just not worthwhile. So yes, this started out as a job seeking tool, but here's the good news is everyone that has been in any kind of professional setting other than medical and education, although education is shifting a little bit, are on LinkedIn. And actually medical admin are, just doctors and nurses tend to not be on LinkedIn. That's about it. Everyone else is there. So if your target market is anyone that's B2B, you're going to find them here. Even if it was meant as a job seeking tool, it is now a business development tool, hands down. And they even created Sales Navigator around that. But I've been teaching this as a business development tool longer than LinkedIn saw it that way. The connect and pitch is a problem. Hands down is a problem. Just don't be that person and it will be fine, right? And number 3, content. So if you just share content and no one's engaging on it, LinkedIn has a smart-ish AI. So if you share something and you get engagement, 5, 7, 10 people engage in the first hour, they say, hey, this is an important piece. We're going to keep it at the top of the newsfeed of people in your network. And potentially if you've used hashtags, we'll keep that in the top of the newsfeed because people like this. So there is a lot of self-promoting thought leadership and content initially. I share something now, LinkedIn says, hey, lots of people like Brynne's stuff. We're going to keep this high up. They learned that my stuff gets engagement, but it wasn't an accident. If I just shared content a few years ago, no one would have seen it. But I you know, and there's lots of ways to do this. I mention people, I send the link to people, I have a share pod. Like, there's so many things that I do to drive traffic to it that I've built that algorithm reputation now, that if I share something, it gets some love. But there's a lot of work that goes involved. Okay, so let's see. I see some questions coming here.
Hey, Brynne.
Mm-hmm.
Question, slightly different subject, but explain this hashtags and the benefit they provide or don't. I mean, I use them, but I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah, so there's a little bit magic behind hashtags, and I'm just going to answer Ian's question, and I'm going to pop into this, which, can you use video message for anyone other first degree? No, it's a message. You have to be a first degree connection to use it. Hashtags. So there are three things I'll talk about hashtags. The purpose of a hashtag is to categorize content that it's going to show up under. So if I'm going to show a couple. So if I do hashtag LinkedIn, if I use this, I'm telling the world that this content relates to LinkedIn. Now, there are lots of followers, right? So if you look, there are 780,000 followers of the hashtag LinkedIn. Theoretically, when I use this hashtag, this will go, in actuality, this will go on to the news feed of 788,000 people. Theoretically, they'll see it, but I know for a fact they're not. And there's a few reasons why. There are over 2 million pieces of content that's been shared using that hashtag in the last 60 days. So when I click through here, so we have top, if I go to recent, 1 minute ago, now, 1 minute ago, 5 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago, there's so much content being used with this hashtag that your stuff is going to get pushed down really, really, really fast, right? If I look at another hashtag, for example, banking industry, and I see, oh my gosh, there are 13 million followers of banking industry, but I'm sure it didn't show how many. There's actually significantly less shares. Oh, I'm still on recent. So 9 minutes ago, that's 10 minutes, 17 minutes ago, 36 minutes ago. So that means we've got all these followers, but I'm not going to get pushed down as quickly. My content has a better shot of getting seen because there's less content. Now, that's only a piece of it because those people are following other hashtags with other content, but conceptually, that's the way you want to think about this. The other thing I recommend with hashtags is be really careful that you're not just using hashtags that your competitors use. Make sure you do some research and look at the hashtags your clients are using, because otherwise your content is just going to go onto the news feed of all of your competitors. And that's something that we do a lot, right? So if you sell to the banking industry, if you sell to bankers, this is a great hashtag to use. If you are a banker, it's really not, because all you're doing is other bankers are looking at, or financial professionals are looking at banking industry. So keep that in mind. Now, for my team, we share a lot of content. I like to keep my content organized. So I have my own made up hashtag SSL Insights, Social Sales Link Insights. We have 109 followers, which is lovely. It doesn't mean much. I mean, it does. All 109 of you mean a lot to me. But I mean, generally, that's not going to get a whole ton of my content in front of a lot of people. But what this does, it allows people to go, ooh, that's good content. I click through, or is it here, SSL Insights, and I can see all the content being shared under that topic. So I can look, and actually did I click something else? What am I on? Because that should not have brought up those pieces. Yeah, this is better. So, and I just need to point out, this is very exciting for me. This is a moment. EY is advertising on my hashtag. That's so cool. It's promoted, and they said, hey, we like this content. We're going to pay to promote around it. So here I look through all of this, right? And so these are all things that are shared, by the way, banking industry. But these are all things that are shared using my hashtag SSL Insights, so that all of my content and all of my team's content are in one place. Look, people are paying to be promoted on this. It's crazy, right? So you click through SSL Insights, you get all of our content. So if you have a content-heavy company, this is a great way to keep track of everything in perpetuity, really. Do you periodically go through your connections and disconnect with them for some reason? If so, why? So this is a sticky question. I am almost at my 30. I hit 30,000. I actually had to delete over 3,000 people just so that I can connect with new people. And I did pay my 17-year-old son to do this for me because it was kind of a feat. But I ended up, first I went to other countries. And then we sent everyone a little message that said, I'm hitting close to my 30,000 in maximum connections. And so I'm reaching out and asking some of my connections, what if you see value in us staying connected? A lot of people responded, and then I kept connected to them. The people that didn't respond in a week, we disconnected from. But the only reason I really did that is to make way for other people.
Brynne,
Yeah.
may I ask a quick question? I know that there's a huge emphasis on thought leadership. There has been for a while, and I understand how, targeted and focused and of value it needs to be. But at some point, that hedgehog is going to start to wane as a key differentiator. What do you see as next that we can start to prepare for?
So this is still next. It just has to get perfected. So by the way, it's mostly video. So it's not that it's next because that's here. Blog posts are waning. Anything that anyone has to read is waning. So video is it's here, and it's here for a while, I believe. And I think what it comes down to is you need to you need to start shining as the subject matter expert in your field, and that's consistent content, not quantity, but quality and consistency, and building a tribe. But it's people are more picky than ever on the value of that. So I'm not a good predictor, and although I'm an early adapter, I'm rarely the one that starts the trend. So I don't know, something. I think the video in the mobile messaging is huge. So I could really talk. I'm not as innovative as I might be. All right, let's throw out, maybe LinkedIn will get better at groups and those will come back. They're trying. They're really awful right now, but they're trying. Maybe there'll be some deeper value in company pages because they've done huge leaps and bounds around engaging as a brand. And maybe the events on LinkedIn will start to be meaningful.
Thank you.
I had to think for a while.
I'm sorry.
Who are the trend centers? So, I think what it is, it would really be the developers inside of LinkedIn determine what's coming out. And so what we do as a community, the social selling community, is very quickly take a new feature and put strategy and tactic around it. So I think, we can't determine not knowing the technology that's coming next. But But I had to think about it. And I think so, where am I teaching more? I'm teaching more on company pages. I'm teaching more, I'm starting to teach events a little bit. How do we monitor the newest LinkedIn features? There is a link that I believe, here, if we just really did newest LinkedIn features, I actually have a Google alert that I get, new LinkedIn features article. This is the link. So this comes in actually to every time there's a new one, this will come in to my feed. I'm going to put this in chat. And this is what I monitor. I get this all the time. And that will let you know kind of all the new LinkedIn features. And it's pretty good. And then so we learn this, right? And then we figure out how do we put strategy around it.
Beacon is the premier executive networking organization serving the Mid-Atlantic region. To learn more, go to beaconforlife.org.